Hi there, it's Joanne here, and it is time for a weekly lesson for those of you who are hanging out with me for a lesson. So thank you again for supporting me here on Patreon. And so here we're going to start our second lesson. And as a follow-up to last week's lesson where I talked about my favorite hand lettering tools and how to use them, I'm going to show you the basic strokes for modern calligraphy or pointed pen calligraphy. Now today, for the sake of convenience, I'm going to show you using one of these Tombow Fudenosuke brush pens, and this is the one that I showed you last week. This is what the packaging looks like. All of the printing is in Japanese. The only way that you know it is what you want is because it's in a blue sleeve and it's in a dark blue case. And on the side of the pen, let's see if I can zoom in here, are the letters WSBH 150. So that's how you know that this is the hard tip Tombow Fudenosuke pen. And again, I've got my Rhodia grid paper here. So I'm going to use this, and I'm just going to quickly show you guys the 7 or so foundation strokes for pointed pen calligraphy. And as we keep going with future lessons, I will show you how to put them together to form letters of the alphabet. But for now, because these lessons are meant to just be bite-size lessons that you can take and practice for the week, I'm going to show you the strokes themselves. So I just want to make sure that I'm focused in on the pen itself. So when you are aiming for a beautiful, flawless, consistent script style with pointed pen, it's important that we develop a consistent transition between the thick downstrokes and the thin upstrokes. So you'll see just by using this pen that I'm able to achieve that. And I'm nice and consistent with where the fine stroke ends and the heavy stroke begins. So they're always at the very top and the very bottom of the stroke. So what you want to develop is the muscle memory and the timing, the cadence of your stroke, but also how to build each part of the stroke. So if we write the word, let's say lettering, we're going to use a series of strokes to achieve that word. And it's not necessarily the strokes that you may have learned as a younger child to write this word in cursive. So this was built rather quickly, albeit, using a series of strokes, and we call those strokes foundation strokes. So those strokes are as such. We have an entrance stroke. So this is the stroke that you would use to lead in to a character or to join two characters together. We have the oval. So it's a nice, slightly angled oval. It's heavy on the downstroke and light on the upstroke. And it's seamless. It's not, there are no hard starts and stops. We have the underturn. So you saw the underturn here in my drill stroke, but also the T's here are elongated underturns. So they start at the top and they come down and then they transition into the second part of that stroke, the upstroke. We have the opposite of that. We have the overturn. So that's this part of my drill stroke. We're starting light at the top, light at the bottom. We come light upstroke, starting to apply pressure, and then a full, heavy, thick downstroke. And you saw that here in this part of the N, and then again here. We combine the two to create a compound curve. So that's heavy down, thin up, heavy down. And then the opposite of that, of course, is thin up, heavy down, thin up. So these are both compound curves, and you're going to see that here it's actually the I, so it's heavy down, light up, heavy down to lead into the first hump on the N. We have an ascending loop, so it looks like a P, but we're actually starting at the top of the height of the body of a character and coming up and then heavy down. And oftentimes what will happen is that this will continue curving up into a new entrance stroke. So we saw this in a slightly different shape here for the the L. So it's an elongated ascending loop. So we start here, come up with a thin stroke and a heavy down, and then right into an entrance stroke to meet up with the E. And in fact, also the E is the same stroke, but it's compacted or condensed, and it's the exact same motion. So we start halfway up the letter, up and around, and then heavy down, leading into the next stroke. And we also have a descending loop. So that starts at the top of the body of the letter and comes straight down with a heavy down stroke, and then transitioning up, light to meet the baseline where we would likely attach it to another letter. And we saw that here in the G. So we did an oval, as shown here, and then we started our descending loop by starting heavy at the top, coming all the way down, transitioning up, and then to end the word nicely, we just continue it through into a soft entrance stroke. There are, so this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And there are a few extra strokes that you need to know, and they are the little flick. I'm sure there's a more official word for that. And what I call the S stroke. And those appear in areas like this R. So this portion of the R here is a variation of this flick stroke, or the notch. And nowhere in here are you seeing the S stroke, but where that appears would be in characters like a casual lowercase b, so it would be like that, a casual lowercase p, and of course the S itself. So it's this portion of the stroke. So once you've mastered these strokes and you've made sure that they're completely consistent in angle, in width, in where the transitions fall, in pressure, so that the thickness here is the same as the thickness here and here and here and here and here and here and so on. So we do pages and pages of these drills when I teach the workshops, and in any kind of practice, if you're trying to establish a hand in pointed pen calligraphy, you likely will have downloaded some drill sheets, or perhaps if you've attended one of my workshops, you would have received a drill sheet as part of your take-home kit. So the reason for consistently repeating these strokes over and over again is so that you're establishing consistency, like I said, in angle, in width, in thickness and thinness of your strokes, so that every time you write the word lettering, all of those strokes are connected together and all of those strokes are consistent every time. So if I were to write the word lettering over and over again, it would be pretty consistent every single time. And that's just by doing these drills and these foundation strokes over and over and over again. So let's just go through them one more time. I'm going to bring the camera down a little bit closer if I can. And I will, got a bit of a shadow here. That's just from my phone cable that's connecting it to my charging station. So we're just going to go through those strokes one more time. So we have, and I'm going to use 2 boxes high on my grid paper as the body height of the character, and then I will come up 2 for the top ascending height and down 2 for the descending height. So we have an entrance stroke, which is slightly curved going up. We have an oval that starts at the top, heavy down, light up. We have an underturn, heavy down, light up. Something I didn't mention above is that you want these to always be the same angle. We're not trying to create a V here, right? They're the same angle. It looks more like a U. The opposite of that is the overturn. Again, still parallel angles. We have a compound curve starting heavy down and a compound curve starting light up. We have the ascending loop and the descending loop. And we have the flick and the S stroke. Oh, sorry, off camera. So I encourage you to practice these strokes at home. Take your time, slow them right down, and repeat them over and over again. Get yourself some graph paper. You can even do this with pencil. So as long as your pencil, I'm just looking to see if I have one within reach, but as long as your pencil is soft enough, you can, this may not work because it's a mechanical pencil. If you apply pressure, you'll get a heavier stroke down. Oops, yeah, I thought that would happen. A heavier stroke down and a light stroke up. So you will see the difference and you'll be able to assess your progress by looking at the dark strokes compared to the light strokes. So you don't even need to have these fancy brush pens or calligraphy nib and ink at this point. You can just use a pencil and get working on these foundation strokes over and over and over again, really watching your consistency and your timing and where your transitions start and stop. And I'll be further developing these in future lessons. Thank you so much. Be sure to take photos and post them either as a comment below if you can, or elsewhere in the community under patron posts. Thank you so much. See you next week.